prevents the Cowboys from winning this football game. So, yeah, I think they could win if he's not at 100%, because they wouldn't play him if he couldn't make the requisite throws. Now, maybe if they're in an end-of-half Hail Mary situation, he wouldn't be able to do what he typically can as far as getting the ball downfield. I don't think Dak's health is going to be the defining factor of this game. I think it could be an excuse if the Cowboys lose, however.
Yes, I think it could be an excuse, or it could be an explanation. But something tells me he's more healthy than we're being led to believe. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this definitive, I'm going to play. He's going to be out there. Part of this is the narrative that's followed Dak, which is he's tough.
He's a tough
leadership. You know, he's a tough hombre. He shows great leadership in his ability to always be available. To answer your question, Jenna, I don't think he has to be 100% from them to win. Do I think he has to be competent? Of course.
Yep.
Of course. But I don't think he has to, because, look, last time they were able to run the ball with Zeke, last time they were able to get Amari Cooper going, you're not asking him to make any sort of super dynamic throws. I think if he can just singles and doubles, they should be fine because they're the better team.
He didn't take a snap the last 2 days of practice. So anyway, on to the Patriots now. Tomorrow they host the 10-4 Buffalo Bills, who have had a tremendous season. Patriots can clinch an 11th straight AFC East title with a win. All of that despite their offensive woes. Nick Wright, will the Pats beat the Bills and win the division?
Well, I think Pats will eventually win the division, but I don't think it'll be this weekend because I don't think they're going to beat Buffalo. Now, I understand where this game is being played, and picking the Bills to win in Foxborough seems foolish. But picking this offense, especially speaking of injuries, with Julian Edelman dealing with whatever he's dealing with, picking this offense to all of a sudden score the requisite points to beat a competent team, to me, that seems a little foolish as well. We saw this offense stuck in the mud against Cincinnati for the first half of that football game. What flipped that game to where the Patriots all of a sudden scored in the high 30s was a muffed punt, then an interception, then a pick six, then a short field after an onside kick. We know the offense couldn't get going against Kansas City, couldn't get going against Houston, Dallas, Philly,
and this is a legit defense. Buffalo has a legit defense. Great team speed.
And the first time around, the Patriots scored 13 points in the first 9 minutes. 7 of those came on a blocked punt touchdown, and then scored 3 points the rest of the way. Brady did that, but Brady also has struggled mightily against this team with this coach. Since Sean McDermott, now maybe the record hasn't struggled. Look at Tom Brady's numbers. 5 games since Sean McDermott's been the head coach of the Bills. That's terrible.
Yep.
That is not just bad for Brady. That's bad for anybody. 74 passer rating, 6.5 yards per attempt, more picks than touchdowns. And even Brady this year, his worst year he's had in at least 15 maybe of his career. Yeah. One thing he's done a really good job of, not turning the ball over. He's been great at protecting the ball. So, yeah, I think the Bills can win this football game. It does, because of the tiebreakers, they would have to win this game and next week, and then also have the Patriots lose this game and lose next week to win the division. So I think Pats still win the division, but I think the Bills win a very close game on Saturday.
Remind me, okay? He said the Eagles were going to win because of 3 factors, right? They were at home.
They were at home.
They had the better coach, and they had a better quarterback, right?
Yes.
Okay, the Patriots
are at home. They have the better coach. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But listen, do I think?
I'm not sure.
Well, no.
I just want to see.
Listen, what he's saying is kind of my argument, the LeBron argument I made earlier, which is, like, if I say that Kevin Durant has been better than LeBron James the last 3 years, it's not throughout his career. LeBron at his absolute peak is better than Kevin Durant was maybe last couple years, right? And now LeBron at 34, 35, he can't be expected to be Giannis at 24,
sure,
right? So what he's saying is Tom Brady, who was bad at the end of last year. I know he had the Jets game where he played great, but he had other stinkers.
He was bad in the AFC Championship game. He was bad in the Super Bowl.
Right. He has not been. He gets worse as the season goes on because of all the reps on that shoulder, and people can get him off his spot. But he's still Tom Brady. They're still the Patriots. They find a way. And again, to use your argument, like, are you really going to pick Josh Allen?
I just did.
On the road to beat the Patriots and Bill Belichick. In December?
Can I give one pushback on that? Now, the on the road part is a big factor. I'm not eliminating that. But as far as Josh Allen, The Bills could not have gotten worse quarterback play than they got in this first meeting.
Sure.
That was...
They wheeled that Matt Barkley, and you're like, damn, Matt Barkley's still in the league?
Josh Allen threw, before he got hurt,
and he was bad.
Threw 3 picks.
Yes.
Then Matt Barkley came in, and he threw a pick. And they were still
had a chance to win
right
the game.
there the entirety of that second half.
Listen, but there's no reason... and part of what's happened in the NFL is what we see in the NBA, and the same thing happens in baseball. Because there are teams that are non-competitive. The difference this year in the NFL is there's been a group of teams that have been non-competitive since game 1. Usually it's like game 14 on, right? Teams start packing it in. But the Dolphins were just inept. The Bengals have just been inept. Terrible teams. So it's really hard to use the volume of statistics because the Patriots have loaded up defensively against the bad teams, kicked the hell out of them, scored a bunch of points where they play the good teams, and they come right back down to earth. So I don't think the Patriots are as good as defensively as their rankings are. But I ain't picking against the Patriots to win on a Saturday in New England.
It's been the theme this season, benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
But for the Patriots, what they want is the quickest path to Miami, right? Get there as quick as possible. What happens to this team if they don't get the bye this year?
Well, no, they've never made a Super Bowl without a bye, and we know the importance of that. They can still win this division by losing this game, but if they lose this game, the Chiefs all of a sudden, assuming they take care of Chicago, go to the 2 line, and the Patriots are sitting there at the 3 line.
All right, from the AFC to the NFC, now Sunday on Fox Game of the Week, it is a matchup of 2 young star quarterbacks between Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz. So far, Dak has the head-to-head edge, winning 4 games to Carson's 2. And while this season hasn't gone the way either quarterback would have liked, they both still have a chance to take their team to the playoffs. Nick, which of these QBs has more on the line Sunday, Dak or Carson?
To me, this is I don't know what your answer is going to be, but I'm guessing it'll be the same. I think it's a very simple question. The answer is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, okay, so then maybe it's not as simple to you, or we just disagree. Carson Wentz has never proven he can win this game. Now, he's never been in it.
Right.
It's not like he's lost a bunch of these games. He's never played in the game. This is the biggest game he's ever played in by a mile.
Well, since South Dakota State.
Or North Dakota State. Yeah, fair enough.
Playing against South Dakota State.
I got you. This is the biggest game of his pro career. And that's not prisoner of the moment. That's not recency bias. This is a playoff game.
Right.
Because if you lose, you're eliminated. He's never played in one of these games before. We've seen him play in a game against the Rams, his near MVP season, where seeding is on the line, and that's very important. And he played well in that game before he got his leg cracked. But it wasn't the stakes of this football game. Dak, for whatever you think of him, whether from the scale of from Shannon Sharp to Skip Bayless, of whatever you think of Dak Prescott, you know he's played in games as big as this, if not bigger, and he's played well. He played well enough in their first playoff game last year. He played decent in their second playoff game last year. He was brilliant in the second half of his first playoff game ever against Aaron Rodgers in a duel. Last year down the stretch, when they were in not quite playoff mode, but they had to win 7 of 8 to make the playoffs the way they did, and he played well in those spots. So I need to see Carson Wentz in this moment, and I believe he'll step up in this moment. So to me, there's way more on the line for Carson Wentz.
Your favorite stand-up act of all time would Eddie Murphy Raw, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, do you remember the Eddie?
Doesn't age that
what
well.
have you done for me lately?
Yes.
Right? Well, that's Dak Prescott, isn't it? Because as much as what you're saying is accurate, he has performed well in big instances. You want a huge contract, you want $35, $40 million. This is supposed to be a Super Bowl team. You're going on the road. They got a bunch of no-name dudes, they were, running 40 times in the parking lot in order to get an Eagles jersey. Like, you couldn't pick them out of a lineup. You got Amari, you got the offensive line,
Zeke.
you got Zeke, you got a good defense, not Van Der Esch, but you got plenty of other dudes. Like, there's no reason to believe that Dak shouldn't roll out there. And I know he's got a bum, got a bum shoulder now, got a cracked finger, got all these injuries. But in the what have you done for me lately, if you want that big contract, you have to win this game. And then you have to perform well in the games, in the playoffs, in spite of the fact that he should have earned that equity previously.
We keep talking about these 2 quarterbacks, and we talk about everything they do on the field. Michael Irvin came out the other day, and he said the biggest difference between them is that one of these guys plays with heart and soul. Yeah. One of these guys is a true leader, and the other guy is just trying to go out and maybe win a football game, and that in the end, the guy that plays with heart and soul, and it's not just these 2 quarterbacks, anyone is the the one, and you're looking at me like,
I think that's totally unfair from Michael. I like Michael a lot, but I didn't see the commentary. My guess is he said the one who plays with heart and soul is the one who plays for his team,
Cowboys.
the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, and I'm not taking. I really like Michael.
Having that locker room behind you and how important that is to go out and win.
But you can't tell me the locker room's not behind Carson Wentz after the way in which he led them the last 2 weeks, right?
Against Washington and New York.
It doesn't matter. Like those guys, they watch him, they look in his eyes, and he makes plays down the stretch, and they win games, and they buy in. Like, look, I think some of the problems are guys that don't buy in are guys that got hurt, especially Alshon Jeffrey. I'm not sure those
Alshon Jeffrey definitely didn't buy in.
Okay, definitely didn't buy in, but he ain't on the field, so that doesn't matter. I don't really get into the heart and soul and guts thing. Either you can complete a pass on third down, or you can't. It's really that simple.
And now listen, I do think Dak's approval rating within the Cowboys locker room is higher than Carson Wentz's approval rating within the Eagles locker room, but I don't think one guy's at 94 and the other guy's at 42.
Yeah, this isn't a Jay Cutler where he's dressing. Jay Cutler had to dress in a different locker room at the end of his run with the Bears. They hated him. That's not where we are.
And I do think, Jenna, we look at it as, yeah, you led those comebacks, but against the Giants in Washington. I think the locker room looks at it as we were in games against guys who were whooping us, and we came back and won behind you. The last point for me, I think Dak already has the contract. I think barring injuries, the only thing that can stop the contract. If I agreed that if they don't make the playoffs, he's looking at the franchise tag, then I would be with you. But I think he is getting 140+ million, 35+ million per year with 110 million guaranteed whenever he wants it this offseason.
Well, and the thing about Carson Wentz is this, that, yeah, I understand it's those two teams, but one, he's convinced those guys that he can make plays. And I do think that Nick Foles, falling on his face in Jacksonville, I think that's helped. It's not like, it's not like Drew Brees doing well in New Orleans, and now all of a sudden you're like, do we have the right guy?
If Foles was dealing in Jacksonville, this is a much tougher season for Carson Wentz.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, much more on this game and what it means for Jason Garrett still ahead on First Things First.
You guys.